Hello and welcome to Campaign Comrades, your favorite leftist gaming podcast. We are talking news today. It's the news, folks. Get you some news, some new news,
Extra. Read all
new
about it.
new news. How we doing, boys? What's new in your lives? What new games are you playing? What's got you hot and bothered? Some heated gaming. What's going on? Most of my thoughts must be saved for next week's episode. I will say that.
Yeah, I gotta save most too, but I have struggled slightly with the spider. I only spent like 40 minutes on it, but Ice Spider gave me a little bit of issue so far. I just haven't found the right build.
I was trying to do the mental math. I'm like having trouble with the spider. I mean, you're talking about Spider-Man? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? But no, Ice Spider from Armored Core. He can be kind of tough. Your first go around. However, they did nerf him. He did get hit heavy with the nerf bat. So, just picture how I felt.
I just don't
honestly, dual songbirds will get him to pretty much a full stun bar.
Okay. He's also pretty susceptible to tetrapods because again, you can just, if you have a good generator and booster and not whatever you were using before with your tetrapod, the paper mache booster, you can just hover above him and just pepper him in his weak spot.
That's like until his like second phase where he does,
and then you could technically still do it if you have a good generator.
If you have to have a really good generator to do that. But yeah, no, I didn't do that. I didn't fuck around with that at all. But like, your dual Gatlings and whatever is a good stun weapon will shred him pretty easily. Because
what was the first time you got hit by the satellite laser on your way in? What was your reaction?
I hate those. They suck.
Hey, but you get a checkpoint.
Yeah, you get a checkpoint.
That's fine. I basically stealthed the whole way there my first time.
Did you?
Yeah,
I only got to do that, but I never.
I only got hit like subsequent playthroughs. I don't think I got hit the first time. You can pretty much stealth the whole way there. Just do hiding under the bridge. You assault boost that one stretch and you're
the gap.
Yeah,
I did fall down that gap on that was I think on like playthrough 3. I misjudged something and fell to my death. Like ran out of energy and plummeted to my death, which is always fun. But this is proof that it's not a Souls game though, right? It's like fall, gravity, damage, whatever. You take like a certain percentage of your health, right?
That's how Sekiro handled it.
You don't just die outright.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'll do fine with Ice Spider. Just tinker with the build a little bit, and he is definitely staggerable. I remember first playthrough, I'm pretty sure I used the pile bunker. I'm pretty sure like I just deleted HP with the pile bunker. Get a good stun, zoom on in and kabonk, and he goes down.
Okay. It's helpful.
But I do know plenty of people. Like he was like a Ice Spider or Sea Spider. I don't know why I keep calling him Ice Spider. It's Ice Worm.
Yeah, Sea Spider.
Sea Spider was like kind of like a polarizing boss in a lot of ways. I heard plenty of people, and this is like pre-nerf too. Plenty of people who had like no trouble, and plenty of people who had more trouble with Sea Spider than they did with Balteus. So I guess it truly is, every end boss, with maybe the exception of Ice Spider, is like a build check. It's that do it again. Sea Spider. But I said Ice Worm is the only one that's maybe not a
build check.
Not a true build check, because it's like have the gimmick weapon and you'll be fine.
Yeah. That's the build check part. If you show up without it, it's funny. There's dialogue for it.
Yeah, G1
Michigan calls you an
Michigan.
idiot,
Yeah, yells at you. It's very funny.
and you never want to disappoint Daddy Michigan. Honestly,
No. I could have sworn that the voice actor for Michigan was the guy. I the only role I'm currently rewatching Veep, and he has a role in Veep too, but like the only role I can always think of is the neighbor from Office Space.
yeah,
That actor. I could have sworn that it was him doing the voice for Michigan, but when I looked it up, it was not him. So doing a pretty good impression of him, I'd say. I forget the actor's name, but he's funny. He voices he's voiced Batman in a few animated things. He's Batman in the Harley Quinn series. He had like his own Batman cartoon that ran for a couple seasons. That was that was
punk rock guy. Office Space. He's like a motorcycle guy, right? He's like a
he's got the handlebar mustache. He's the one.
Yeah.
He's a neighbor who's like they constantly knocking on the through or like speaking through the wall and
yeah.
Nah, man, I believe you get your ass kicked saying something like that.
Isn't he part of Sandler's crew?
No,
No.
definitely not.
I mean, maybe.
I don't think so. But yeah, he's been like in a shit ton of stuff. Like if you look at his IMDb page, it's like 300 plus roles, lots of voice acting and all that. But yeah, so I'm glad that you are while still playing through Spider-Man that you are, we were saying Armored Core is good in that with that mission structure, you can kind of pick it up, put it down, play something else, do a mission here or there, and still make some progress.
Yeah,
occasionally you'll have to sit down and like actually like sit out a boss, like learn the boss.
Sure. But
you'll get plenty of palate cleansing missions and in between where it's like destroy the helicopters.
I'm a fan.
Do you think you're gonna try to do all 3 endings for that one?
I don't know. I haven't decided.
If you're only going to do one ending, the ending decision only matters in chapter 5.
You first playthrough it takes the longest. The subsequent 2 you fucking fly through.
Yeah, because you've already done all the missions.
And because we
end game weapons.
Well, yeah, there are new missions. That's the difference in its new game plus. It's not that difficulty's increased. You'll run a lot of the same missions, but then you'll run some that are of the same mission, but then there's an alternate ending to it, or there's a choice that you get to make or something. And then there are just completely new missions.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's what's different is that
I didn't realize that.
Is that there are certain missions that are locked behind a particular playthrough. So to experience all missions, you need to do all 3 playthroughs. You'll burn through everything else. Like I said, I beat Balteus on say again, I played the whole 3 endings before nerfs, before everything. I played on the launch build. And Balteus took me like 2.5, 3 hours the first time. Second time around with like a full playthrough's worth of build components, sub 1 minute. We're talking like 30 seconds.
Yeah, remember I came over and you were like,
I wanted to do it for fun. I wanted to do it for
try with dual Gatling guns, and you like his fight was like 45 seconds.
It was nuts. It's absolutely stupid. Because like he's only challenging based off of the equipment you have available in first chapter 1. That's it. That's the challenge.
Everything changes once you equip dual stun needles.
Oh yeah. But Mike's still plugging along in Elden Ring. Have you done any more Malenia attempts since?
I did one.
Since stream, come on, you gotta be doing some more. You gotta get back in the zone, or else you're just gonna get
those numbers up.
Or else you're gonna get
numbers
nowhere on stream.
I'm trying to get as close to like finishing all the achievements and stuff, and then just knocking out all the the end game things. And then, it'll be DLC time.
Right.
That's theoretically February.
Yeah,
That's
did I see
that's
that
the first
something
little bit of
came out
news
about
there.
it?
No,
Yeah.
there's nothing. No, there's no word. Anything that
Well,
comes out about it is all is all memes and or rumors that have no actual standing in from real From Software people.
No, they're just related to Jeff Keighley, more or less.
But did he say something about like,
Yeah.
oh, be prepared for something at the Game Awards or something like that?
Yeah, and there's been enough linking where it's like, of course they're gonna probably show their like final trailer with a date at the Game Awards.
I mean, they've got a good relationship. So
yes, because they did Elden Ring with the date and the trailer at Game Awards, and Armored Core with the trailer.
Right. So following in their pattern. Unless they again say fuck you, give us no information on DLC.
Demon's Souls 2.
Or no, do a trailer for their new game, like an announcement trailer for like the real announcement trailer for like, what's it called? Spell something.
Yeah, whatever.
I forget what it's called, but like the one
Sekiro Shadows Die Thrice.
Man,
one of my favorite words, thrice. We don't use it enough in the English language.
It's gone out of style.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if a lame-o engineer like me is using it, then no kid is gonna be walking around using it to get the Riz. You know what I'm saying, Kaka?
I'm personally continuing my journey though on trying to play as many of the Game of the Year contenders that are out there.
You're gonna play Alan Wake 2?
That's like the one. No, I was saying yesterday. I want that's one where it's like everything else besides the horror element is like, yeah, I think that's really interesting. Like all the meta shit about it. Like I love the concept of Alan Wake's powers. His abilities come from being a writer, and like that he gets
I'm Alan Wake and I'm a writer.
Yeah, he gets to rewrite reality. It's like they explain it like, oh, it's an environmental puzzle. You're in this, like, you come to this room that's like closed off. There's no way to proceed. You go to your little Mind Palace writer's room, clickety clack on a typewriter. You change the scene. And then you come back to reality because he's not really in reality. And the scene changes. It's completely different. So that shit's really interesting to me, but like I'm just such a little piss baby that like there's just no way.
You see, they wouldn't give me the real control though, because I would just, the second it gets scary, I'd go into my Mind Palace and be like, and the game was happy and it was always sunny, and nothing bad would ever happen again.
Period. So I found what I was referring to and I sent it to you guys, and it's
some like fan mod.
Yeah, it's a fan mod, but just if you like read the first paragraph, at the end of the first paragraph, there's a word choice by this journalist.
Oh my! I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna say that out loud.
No. We're not gonna say it on this pod, but it is.
Is Gaming Bible? Are they British?
Yeah, like what
are they?
That was
because that is. I think Brits use that.
Definitely not American when I saw it, because that is not a word Americans.
It is technically a word, and it doesn't actually have any of that connotation.
I mean,
but it definitely sounds that way,
a bit.
And it should. Yeah. I mean, if you actually go into its etymology, it probably.
Yeah, for sure.
But... Is it as bad as Joseph Joestar saying "run away"?
No, I'll just say this is on Gaming Bible. It's Elden Ring Resurrection is the expansion we all deserve. Folks at home can go check it out for themselves to see what we're talking about. I will not be saying it on the pod.
Yeah, though. Folks in Malaysia.
Yeah, go check it out.
You can go check that out and try to figure out why the Americans are.
Oh my god! I just saw.
Yeah, no.
Oh, you muted yourself, Andrew.
That's no good. Because he said it out loud, so you had to mute it. The new Zoom AI companion stepped in and was like, "No, not today.
No,
not today."
Anti-cancel technology.
Hey, that's some artificial intelligence I could get behind.
Yeah, they even have a Jeffrey Tubin filter that that cuts your camera when they see a winky.
Okay.
Oh.
It's using generative AI to see like, okay, what's beyond the frame right now? Is this motherfucker
Yeah.
wearing pants or not?
Using the famed "Is this a penis?" AI technology.
Is this a penis or a hot dog?
Yeah. The
No,
trickiest test you can give it.
And then there's like the guy who puts his dick in a hot dog bun to screw with the AI, to screw with the machine learning. Yeah, so back to just the
Actual news.
game of the year stuff is really heating up. We've got our first like awards show that's coming down the pipe soon with Golden Joystick. I think is early November, so it's gonna be like less than a week. I think is when, or maybe a week or a little bit over a week from when we're recording. Did any of you guys vote in that? I submitted mine the other day.
No, I only vote in the real awards.
Golden Joystick's a real one. Both say what's the real one?
He only votes for American Idol contenders.
Dancing with the Stars.
The games awards.
I say extra text charges may apply. I made my choices for that one. At first I thought
I distinctly don't vote for those so that I can complain with impunity.
That's the only way.
At first I was going to criticize the Golden Joysticks for being cowards because I didn't know that they basically did 2 waves of the voting and nominations. They basically, cutting the bit out, is that they saved the actual full game of the year till the second bit. So in the first one, all you could choose from, besides things like best performance and best studio and all that kind of stuff, is
Woke game.
It's like best like platform game, like best PC game, best PlayStation game, best Xbox game, best Nintendo game. So basically like they keep the walled gardens separated, and it's like, no, we're not gonna, we're too cowardly to have them, go head to head. But no, they did eventually have a real category of game of the year. But I've been doing my best to try to play as many of those as I can. I just ordered a copy of Super Mario Wonder that I'm going to pick up like probably on Tuesday, and I'm interested to see what that is.
I've heard that the Mario Wonder speedrunning scene is already nutty.
That is wild.
Mm-hmm.
And that the Mario speedrunning community has been waiting for this.
There's not, in my opinion, no game of the year contender list is complete without including the newest King Kong game.
Right. You guys seen the clip?
King Kong?
Yeah, the King Kong game. Yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah. Oh my God. Where have you been?
Oh my God. You missed it?
There's a bit in a cutscene where you switch from Kong to one of the monsters that he's like facing off on, and it's a literal JPEG.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like you can see the border of the JPEG. Like there's something else like in the background, and then the foreground is literally just a still JPEG of the monster. It's incredible.
I think I have seen some of this.
It legitimately looks like a PS2 game.
Yeah.
It's beating out Gollum for worst.
Yeah, I saw something comparing them for worst game.
Gollum at the very least has attempts at good visuals.
Yeah.
And you can tell it's made by people who like actually are interested in the material.
The King Kong game doesn't necessarily feel like it was made by people who
that was a tax that was a tax scam.
Yeah, for sure.
They had to produce this because the IRS was coming.
Yeah. They had to launder some money, and this was like the easiest way to do so.
Yeah, that's really
in their mind.
No, the real way you do it is you end up developing just a text adventure game.
Which could be
that,
good.
why don't you just film a
Yeah.
pilot for a shitty show that you're never gonna make? You know, that seems a lot easier than formulating this shit.
You can't,
So then you need you need the income stream.
So you would, but those damn unions, those damn striking unions getting in their way.
I mean, I think we all know who's in charge of green lighting television shows.
Are they anti-Kong for some reason?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I guess so.
Have you seen his fur?
That is true.
So this has all been a long-winded way for me to kind of set the stage for our first real kind of discussion topic for this week's episode. It's been like, a real kind of banger year for gaming, right? People you hear it tossed around, it's like, is this one of like the best years in gaming?
That since 2007 is the most common.
Right. So it's like, and like,
what happened in
like
2007?
It's like almost
BioShock, Assassin's Creed,
Mm.
whole bunch of other games.
Okay, enough said.
Like Half-Life 2, maybe.
Understood.
And we've had a lot of really good. We've had like a lot of really good games, and it's the point where, hence the game of the year just kind of discussion bit. It's like you're seeing the games that were in contention getting pushed out, pushed to the side, and it's the real competition is heating up. Like people are playing these games and enjoying them. It's like been like a really, really strong year. One thing that I'd be
Hot 93.7, tell me why you're mad. I hate people having fun playing video games. They're supposed to be angry and sad.
I'd be interested to see though, like, I don't know that we have actual data on sales numbers. What has the industry been doing in terms of sales? It's probably all down since the height of the pandemic, but still, if I were to hazard a guess, because I'm pretty sure this was the trend at the end of last year, was that overall sales were down since like the height of the pandemic, but still at a pre-pandemic high.
I saw something recently that's I think it was Sony has sold more than 25 million units this year so far, and are targeting a big holiday to boost that further.
Right, and just with the release of Spider-Man selling almost 3 million copies in 24 hours, that's pretty crazy. That's pretty big, Not gonna lie.
I'd actually like to fact check that statement. They released a retraction the next day.
They did.
That there was some European double counting. There were some hanging chads on the vote counts.
Some hanging bros.
It was the second largest PS5 launch to date, trailing slightly behind God of War Ragnarok.
I say Ragnarok, which again, I don't want to get ahead. I don't want to get ahead of things, but like this is something I kind of wanted to talk about as well. It's just that I was thinking to myself this morning, like, how have I felt about this generation of PlayStation exclusives? And most of them have been sequels.
Yep.
Not all of them, but most of them have been sequels.
Returnal was definitely a cool non-sequel.
So Returnal is one of the ones that stuck out as not. But like, there are three major tentpole ones. You got Horizon, God of War, and now Spider-Man. I think
Horizon.
I think in every case, I did not like the sequel better. I have not enjoyed the sequel as much. There are elements of each of them that are obvious improvements, but then there are some core stuff that I just think don't hit as hard. Like Horizon.
I think that's a sequel thing in general is hard to do. It's hard to capture that first playthrough of the first game feeling.
What will be another neat transition to the actual, again, meat of the story that I want to talk about is what the fuck is happening at BioWare. That is not the case with fucking Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2 is the best game in the series. And yet the lead writer of that game was just one of the people who was fucking fired. who was let go. Like
Jesus Christ.
I will get back to it, but my main story is
BioWare anymore.
BioWare is absolutely in shambles. But I just wanted to continue making that point. Like Horizon Forbidden West, just not as good of a game as Zero Dawn. Didn't grab me the same way. Same with Ragnarok. I think Ragnarok is the best sequel of the bunch. But there's something about the transition from the in story scope that let me down with Ragnarok. It went from such a simple story premise that was still so compelling in its kind of simple kind of humanness.
Yeah.
It's like the simple humanness of mourning a lost parent, a lost loved one, and honoring them. And then there's all these other things going around outside that are getting in the way of that. But it was the core of the father-son relationship that propelled that story forward, and it was really, really compelling. But then when it gets to the whole Ragnarok thing, and it's truly just the scope has exploded, it's just like, I don't really care so much. And the story in that one kind of disappointed me. But like, there have been gameplay and combat and traversal and graphical improvements across all of them, but largely I have been slightly disappointed by these sequels. But
back to the BioWare.
Bring me back in. Bring me back in. I don't even remember how I got onto the PlayStation
Mass Effect 2. But so my something I've been wondering, and I'd seen, and I can't remember the exact article or what the company was, or the people, but these successful developers, writers from these studios getting laid off seemingly for no good reason, other than to cut costs or whatever, some political.
So you say no good reason. What they're seeing is you've been here too long and make too much money. We can bring someone in at a third your rate.
We can bring a college graduate in for a fraction of your.
And we're going to use AI to write the base of the story. And
it's the same shit about what the Hollywood writers were asking for, right? And wanting a consistent writers room rather than having like a few people writing by committee to just do shit, throw shit in here or there, rather than actually having a dedicated staff that is actually producing good content.
Or my wondering thought, whatever, that I've been thinking about is there definitely is funding out there for video game studios. These people that are been successful in their careers, that are getting fucked over by the current big video game companies, when do they start going for their own funding and creating their own?
I mean, a lot of them generally do end up teaming together and sometimes forming independent studios or
these heavy hitters, these big names are not like they'll be fine. They're either going to do that, they're either going to start their own studio, or they're going to get
protocol thing,
or they're going to get scooped up by somebody else. Like they're fine. It's the other people who are really getting screwed over.
No, and I definitely understand that. My question is like this: we're at like the height of video games currently. The amount of money that they're generating, their popularity, within the larger culture, etc. So I think that there's more fun. There would be more funding available than if this was happening in 2008. These like mass layoffs of like every level of the development team, the writing team, etc. So like is there more money now for these people to create their own studios that are actually competitive, that aren't just a small indie studio churning out like one game a year or something, we've seen indie studios starting to grow into like AA, and some even peep up into like that AAA type tier. So like, is this
Unlikely.
The Larian is very
It's
much
too much. It's too much money at the moment.
I'd also like
where-
to point out that a small indie studio doing one game a year would be
Is-
incredible
yeah, it was
output.
wild.
or,
Yeah.
or whatever?
We know what you were trying to
just quick-
say. No,
yeah.
Yeah,
you're
no,
trying to
I
say.
just wanted to.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah, but the reason I just don't think that's likely right now is because to get to the point of competing with like even AA games, you got to be able to invest like $100 million, and there are very few people looking to get that heavily concentrated.
Yeah, there's more money than ever in the space, but it is so concentrated in these ridiculous productions that it's not being spread. It's not like, oh, you get like 50 million, you get 50 million. It's like, no,
Yeah, but
EA
it
gets
was-
300 million.
It was more me
Yeah, I'm
thinking
curious
that
to
like
see how
venture
much,
capitalist investors.
Oh
Like,
no, because
you know,
no, venture capitalists are fucking cowardly little parasites who will only, like be willing to invest that level of money in something that is like a proven IP. That's why we're only
Yeah.
getting sequels. That's why we're only getting remakes. They're safe bets.
That's what-
We've
That's
known
why
that.
I want to know how much Avatar:
not-
Frontiers of Pandora is going
Well,
to cost production
Do you,
wise.
do you think
hold-
do you think James Cameron has subsidized that? Do you think because he's probably got money to burn. Do you think he has helped
he might
subsidize that production?
I think Eves probably made him. Eves probably made him kiss the ring and was like, "You come to me, and
yeah, if
ask
they
me to make
needed
you a
it.
video game."
But like the other part of it too, why those sorts of investors aren't going to do something like that is because they want a better return profile than like starting a video game company has, because you're not going to make a ton of money until you get to that double or triple A status, and that requires a whole lot of investment beforehand before you'll ever like have something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, this with BioWare being a particular example, in a painful one at that, just about how these companies are, and these employees are just getting absolutely shredded and like just getting sent to the fucking recycling center.
I think it's 3 or 4 months in a row where we've had a news topic on X company having Y amount of layoffs.
It's been more. I think it's even been more than that, but it's like, because it's been that many months since like we've like noticed that it's a trend, right? This has been happening all year, and this is like kind of the larger point that I wanted to make, is that like that we've had this banner year for gaming success stories. We've had reportedly very
Best year in
successful,
gaming.
at least critically. So I don't know about, and I would assume still, again, these major companies are profitable, with maybe the exception of fucking Xbox. But like,
No, even Xbox is definitely they had
Microsoft
a good
is
quarter.
definitely profitable.
No, yeah, but even their gaming division was profitable this past quarter. I'll get into that.
I mean, because I think I did think Starfield was a commercial success for them. There's no lot. There's no doubt about that. Made them quite a bit of money. But like, I don't have raw data in front of me over how much are these companies making to see how egregious these layoffs are. I think they're bad no matter what. But it's just been so surprising to see these competing narratives, right? That studios are producing the best things they have in almost a decade, yet you keep getting the thing. And I love the phrase of, "Oh, we've been hit by layoffs. We're suffering layoffs," and it's just like, motherfucker, you're the ones doing it.
The company's not suffering anything.
Using passive voice for
sorry.
layoffs.
Yeah. It's just really bothers me.
The PR and media use of passive voice is like something that is not talked about enough, that is just poisoning our brains.
Absolutely.
Even further. It is one of the most like pernicious use of language that we have.
The real one is everything is now slamming. Everything is always a slam on something else, no matter the scale of entity.
It's
It
just
could
like
be local politicians slams, local dairy farm, and it could be President Joe Biden slams Major for being a
for
good boy.
biting it. Yeah.
It's just like it is really depressing to see again these once like truly industry defining studios just become shells of themselves, all for corporate profit and greed, right? This is this is all about raising the the value for the CEO and the stock price, and
say,
for the
depending on
shareholders.
where you ask in the level of the company, they would just call this trimming the fat.
Right. And the
Removing
redundancies,
the excess.
Yeah.
the phrase
Removing
redundancies is
Listen, if we let expenses get out of control, we risk the future of the company, and then everyone will be out of a job. So it's best that we just rein it in now.
BioWare's phrasing was, laying off 50 people in an attempt to become a more agile and focused studio. Yet you hear all these things in the background, and like the majority of them are fucking
agile is
good word.
definitely just covert way of saying they're old.
Yeah, well, no, but they're getting rid of
Saying
QA.
they take too long
They're
to get
getting
their
rid
morning
of
coffee.
QA testers out the ass, dude.
Yeah, no, agile is just a way of saying trimming the fat without saying trimming the fat.
Yeah, fucking
definitely getting rid of some of the
fucking
old
Dragon
people,
Age
too.
Dreadwolf is gonna be fucking dog shit. It is gonna be like like I don't know, like you're hearing rumors as well as like that it's got troubled production, yet they're downsizing the QA team. It's like, what the fuck? You need more QA testers, not less. Like,
No, because
because
more
they're
QA
farming it
testers
out to
find
the
you more things to
consumer.
fix. Less QA testers mean you have less stuff you need to fix. And then you release it, and then you have people who pay to QA test for you. It's weird.
Yeah.
And then you fix it. And after being the bad guy, you become the good guy a couple years later when you fix it. And,
but EA's not even doing that anymore, because let's not forget BioWare is owned by EA now. But let's not forget, like fucking Jedi Survivor is basically still unplayable on many a machine. And they've moved on. They're like, nope, we're on to Jedi 3, Jedi whatever it's gonna be. Like we're on to the third one. Full steam
That's
ahead.
awesome.
Full steam
That
ahead.
and does EA? No, EA doesn't have that other Star Wars property, do they?
No, Ubisoft is the one doing Outlaws, the one
Yes,
that's been quietly moved.
The one that was delayed again.
I knew it was one of those types of studios.
I'll say one more thing, and that's like a decent transition to, I know, one of the stories Andrew wants to talk about with, Disney refocusing its strategies on how it is handling its IP for video games. So, being that they were, first exclusive licensors, they would EA had the exclusive license, then they've now expanded it. Say Ubisoft has it. The fucking Quantum Dream game that's not real, the Star Wars Eclipse. That's not a real game. That's not
a
real.
real game.
There are plenty of those. There are a bunch that are in the development process at
forget
different
about
studios.
the KOTOR remake.
Oh yeah, they got pushed back.
Yeah, we've talked about that. We've talked about that one recently.
Isn't even the right term.
Isn't that like an unknown? Is it canceled officially, or is it just unofficially?
Indefinitely delayed.
It's
is the
last thing we heard about it was that Saber Interactive took over. But that we've talked about that actually relatively recently. But the last thing I want to say just about so BioWare laid off these 50 people. A group of those, these are not like those major, truly like, kind of legendary devs who had this really long history at the studio, who are responsible for creating, the studio's most successful and most profitable games. It's like you're kind of, you're in the trenches employee. A group of them are joining together to sue BioWare for, and they've made a labor complaint. They're suing them, for better severance. they're claiming that there are some illegal termination provisions being enforced, all sorts of stuff. So like that, so that story is not done, and hopefully those people get what they deserve. So solidarity with them, and solidarity also with this is downstream from BioWare, because it's not technically like owned, it's just affiliated. The Irish it is Irish owned, but it's a global studio. Keywords, they're all the unionized members in their Canadian Edmonton office, who were made waves last year as like the first Canadian unionized studio in Canada. They were in the midst of a contract negotiation and they were all fired. So they've also filed a labor complaint with Canada's
they were fired for independent reasons.
Well, they claim it's because BioWare made all these layoffs. They claim it's because, we don't have as much work for you now, or it's like that, like things are winding down at BioWare. BioWare is fucking in the toilet, so we don't have as much work for you, so we got to let you all go. Conveniently, only letting go all the ones who are
you guys grouped yourselves together already, and it just happened to be the right number.
Yeah, funny how that works out. But
right number changes depending on the size of the group, though.
So this bit was like a little weird to me, and maybe wanted to get your guys' opinion on. Is they earlier this week, at the time of recording, they unanimously voted to undertake a strike action, and which they participated in again earlier this week, just a few days ago. Here, but they were like striking in front of and demonstrating in front of BioWare. But it's like, it's weird to me because again, it's a little bit weird, and I don't want to criticize, again, labor movements and labor organizing in any way, but to me, it's just like, this felt like it was more performance than actual, organizing in some way. That's
performative versus action.
Yeah, it's just like they're like, we're doing this to to take them to task, not as a negotiating tactic, which that's what a strike is.
Mm-hmm.
That's the purpose of a strike, is that it's something you use as a negotiating, as a part of the collective bargaining process, and also it's like, yeah, BioWare is responsible to a certain degree, but like, they weren't the ones who laid them off. The Keywords executives are the ones who laid them off.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
So I was a little confused by this story a little bit. Filing the labor complaint, yeah, absolutely, they should. It sounds like it was, targeting.
I think you're right, though, to kind of question this action as potentially performative, because my guess is the choice to protest in front of BioWare instead of Keyword is the name recognition of BioWare. No one is going to understand what Keyword is.
Sure, no, that's a good point.
People know what BioWare is. So yes, it is performative in some way, but to draw the eye to this corporation who's downstream is making these major layoffs, it kind of like a step in educating the larger community on the labor process and how these things work. So that would be my guess, is again, BioWare being the larger name, and labor movements do that is like an actual practice.
That's a
and
smart
they've done
part.
That
that's definitely smart, but it's more like, again, they've been terminated, and so like what is I think more appropriate at this stage is like the making the complaint that that's illegal, that to say to fire them in the midst of a contract negotiation is in itself illegal. Granted, I don't know the intricacies of Canadian labor law,
Same.
but
Yeah, I would say it is, probably solely a PR move of drawing eyes to what's going on. Like you said, they've already been fired, so it's not a strike. It is just like a protest
it's
to
a demonstration.
yeah,
Is what it is.
demonstration. Exactly. And in like a lot of the retail strikes and protests that went on for like garment workers, they would do similar things because technically the garment workers weren't working for H&M, but it was H&M's downstream, so they would protest in front of H&M, things like that.
Right, because it does put pressure on these chains, right? If you were to do a actual strike campaign of forcing people to have to contend with crossing a picket line and stuff like that, that puts pressure on BioWare, who can then potentially put pressure on Keywords to be like, yo, fix your fucking mess.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound like that's what this was. So like a mix of some interesting tactics and some kind of baffling. But yeah, all this is just to say it's been a weird year for gaming, right? And it's been a great year for gamers, but an absolutely terrible year for developers. We haven't heard so many stories of crunch and abuse and all that. They're just getting fucking fired. They're still not having, they still don't work under great conditions by any
you
means.
missed
They're not
the other
getting
part
paid.
there. They're still getting crunched and abused. Now they're just getting a finger wag and a firing that says, if you go tell anybody what we're doing here.
Right.
Well, not only that, but the crunch and abuse is kind of normalized, and then the news cycle is picking up on the new thing that's happening, which is the firings. So the crunch and abuse that is more normalized just goes less noticed.
You either put up with the crunch and abuse, or you don't have a job anymore.
Yeah.
Oops.
All right, so we already mentioned the stuff with Disney. I don't know if you want to take that as a jumping off point, Andrew, but just like this is largely going to turn into just like a weird kind of retrospective on what the fuck is going on with the industry this year. It's kind of wild and all over the place. Like you're seeing record profits, but record layoffs, and consolidation is here to stay. As the last thing we'll say about the Activision deal is that we were correct. We knew this was inevitable. The bad, stupid outcome is always going to be the most likely one. So what we can hope for now, again, connecting into what we were just saying, is that maybe Microsoft will be able to clean house a little bit for upper management at Activision Blizzard. Maybe.
Hopefully.
I have very little faith, as we've seen that their management style is fucking essentially has been non-existent until now. But yeah, what's going on in that neck of the woods?
No, so I think this is an interesting look kind of at the industry. And so just from leaping off with where we are today, I just was doing some research, and this was based on numbers through June 30th. And even at that point, this year, the industry was on track to grow by 2.6%. And I would guess that if you were to do that analysis now, it would be even more, because we've seen a lot of higher sales. I mean, Armored Core did great. Like, a bunch of games have sold really well over the last 3 months. So
over expectations, I would assume.
Exactly.
Well,
yeah, exactly. Not just like well in general, but well compared to what
over expectations, unless you're Square Enix.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But even that's still sold.
Everything's under your expectations.
But so what I find interesting though is what happens now that Microsoft has made this purchase. So Microsoft recently reported their earnings, and in which we came to be revealed that Microsoft's CEO is no longer being compensated based off of Game Pass subscribers, which I find very interesting, and I'll come back to. But all in all, they made a significant amount of revenue. It jumped 13% over the quarter, and net income jumped 27%. So
do they have any does that data get into where they think that comes from?
So it primarily comes from their services. So Game Pass.
So still not hardware or software.
No, hardware revenue declined 7%.
Yeah, that's expected.
So it's their Game Pass strategy seems to have started to pay off. And then the thing that I found interesting was that they are expecting a growth in the division's revenue of somewhere between they expect the growth to be 45% for the next quarter, and 35% of that because of the Activision acquisition. So like,
I mean, 45%, that's an insane number.
Exactly. That's a huge number. Insane. Like in almost all of it is, they're saying, driven by this acquisition. And like when they actually get to report on that shit, it's gonna pop Microsoft. Like Microsoft's gonna get a nice little boost, and everyone will have done their job. And yeah.
Do you think Phil rides off into the sunset after that?
I don't know. I think he wants to get higher numbers for.
So do you think he's the real gamer and is like, no, I'm here for the love of the game?
No, I think he's in it for the love of the game, because
he's trying to min-max everything.
Yeah.
Game Pass is now no longer a function in like part of Microsoft's CEO, like overall CEO pay, and I just find that very interesting. Now the performance metric is purely the gaming division revenue growth, which looks like they're on track for. But I just find it interesting that we haven't gotten an update on numbers since January 2002 or 2022.
Yeah. That was the 25. That was the 25 million number, right?
Right. And someone did post on their LinkedIn pretty high up that indicated it was 30 million, but that was back in June and it's been erased. So at this point, I think they're just waiting to say it's 40. But the fact that it is taking this long is interesting, and I think they're just going to keep raising prices.
I think they've run into the issue that most streaming services are running into. Yeah, it's that people subscribe for a month to get what they want, and then they unsubscribe.
Sure, baby.
And that's why I think they don't care about the growth percentage anymore for the CEO.
And that's also why they've started pulling back on a lot of those like free month. Right. And all of the like $1 for a month plans and ways they've been doing to bring people in.
They saw what you were doing, Matt, and they're like, no more, none of this.
Yeah,
not allowed.
Now, like any streaming service, period, if they offer any of those free trials, it's like a 7-day.
Yeah, 7-day. You have to click a box that says you're not going to shut off recurring payments.
Yeah.
Because if you shut off recurring payments, it cancels immediately.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to get hit with at least 1 month charge. That's what happened to me with Crunchyroll.
Because that's what Microsoft added initially.
Realize that.
Yeah. You can't shut off recurring payments if you're going to renew the 3 months for like $5.
So yeah, I think we'll see.
It's so pernicious and fucking crazy.
So bad.
I hate it.
I think they're gonna raise the price of Game Pass. We're gonna see more layoffs, and numbers are gonna continue to go up, and everything will get.
I mean, I feel like I've sent
my
it pretty much every month in the group chat that various streaming services increasing price by $2, and I think it's funny because I think Netflix has now done it twice this year. And they're not even waiting a full year anymore in between
it's quarters.
Yeah,
I gotta have the quarterly growth go up, man.
I don't even do like a monthly subscription here and there to Netflix anymore. What I do now, because I don't want them to have our credit card information, I just buy gift cards. I'll buy when I need to re-up Netflix for either there's something I want to watch or something, say like I need to watch which has become rare, more like definitely rare for us here on the pod, that we mainly be doing movies for our adaptations, not TV shows. But there are some that I do want us to do. Like I will make you all watch Cyberpunk Edge Runners and then do a Cyberpunk month. That but yeah, I do like a month, a month long gift card, and just do it that way. So I don't even have to worry about turning off the subscription or whatever. It runs out, and I'll do it again when I want to.
You see, they're only a couple updates away from them sending an actual person to your address to
Collector.
knock on your door.
Computer just gets what's the hacking where they lock it up and
Wreck your computer.
yeah, the ransom lock or whatever, ransomware.
I pulled your
Yeah.
IP.
Yeah, I pulled your IP, ransomware. That you're gonna get those messages from Netflix.
And yeah, so it's just, yeah, it continues on and on with just what the fuck is going on with the industry. Like, this connects, I think, for you, Matt, like multiple things that we've been touching on, just how the industry is just fucking changing and not for the better. And then also our earlier discussion of new game releases, again, being really successful, really well received, critically acclaimed, good sales. Game of the year contenders, the latest one being Alan Wake 2, and that is like the latest example of a game digital only. Our digital future is coming for us, whether we fucking like it or not. So
video games are selling so well, and we can't have Walmart, Best Buy, Target, GameStop, any of these box office stores taking a slice off that. Are you kidding me? And like, instead of that, we're going to sell the game digitally at the same price as when we were selling it physically, and we had to include the price of production and shipment and stocking on the shelves of these box stores, but we get to keep all of that over the top slicing.
Yeah,
our proprietary
you could be like
store.
Ubisoft and be like, fuck you, Steam, you're not getting our games right away because we don't want to have to give you a cut from hosting it on your platform.
You got to use Ubisoft Connect.
Yeah, I saw someone making a joke about this on Reddit where they're like, Ubisoft and Epic think that like making their shit exclusive to their store means that I'm going to use their store instead of just waiting for it to hit Steam like a normal person.
Nope, not going to do it. Not going to do it. Not going to do it unless it's free. Not going to touch. Not going to touch. But do you so Best Buy is doing shit like, aren't they phasing out, like, they're not phasing out games yet, but phasing out like
they
Blu-rays?
specified that they're not getting rid of games, but they're phasing out their complete physical movie, TV show, DVD, Blu-ray media section next year, and that'll be gone. And that's something that they've been slowly doing. If you like frequent Best Buys, like that used to be 2 aisles, and then became 1, then became half an aisle. Then it just
now it's an end cap.
Yeah, I was about to say, then it became mostly just an end cap.
Yeah. There's like 3 end caps with DVDs, and that's it.
Yeah. They've been slowly phasing that out, which from my perspective sucks. I kind of prefer be able to go get my movies in a physical format when I want to.
We've talked about this as well, particularly in terms of movies and stuff, is that the quality is so much better on physical.
Yeah, better audio, better video, visual quality. But nope, not allowed to have that anymore because it's got to be on the streaming platforms only.
So like how quickly, so they said they're done with that by the end of 24, right? Yep. I think that's what the timeline was. So what, by the end of 26 they're done selling video games? By the end of 27? Like it can't be that much longer.
No, because if it goes to then maybe like 2028 with the new console generation.
Yeah, exactly. That would
it ties into
like
there are reports that you should expect Walmart to start dropping Xbox physical sections in the next year.
Well, people like
And-
post photos of like this is what the Xbox physical section looks like now, and it's literally, it is the end cap. Like
Yep. It's always the smallest.
Like
they're not carrying anything.
from my anecdotal experience at the Walmart near me, the PlayStation 5 game is 2 cabinets, Nintendo Switch is 2 cabinets, Xbox is 1 cabinet, and it shares it with accessories, while the other 2 have their own dedicated accessory cabinet.
You think that with this change that, I mean, we always joke and we were saying that, that the digital only future is coming. It's like we can't stop it. I hope that that's not true. I hope that there still is at least like the niche kind of, maybe they're independent pressings that like, like will do. Yeah, maybe it's not your best power that you can like at least
Oh
order.
boy, I
still
get
a
to
physical
rely on
copy.
limited run games to produce my stuff. Yay.
Yeah.
And
It's
they
like-
get to charge you like double because they're the
Yeah.
only ones doing it.
Yeah, I hope not.
The way they're doing it now, for
Because I
example,
will not pay $140 for
No.
for Spider-Man 3.
they're doing a physical run.
Thoughts incoming next week, folks, when we talk about the Spider-Man series.
They're doing a physical run of the Persona 3 and 4 ports for modern gen,
That's pretty cool.
and those sell for $20 digitally, and those are selling for $35.99 on limited run games. Near
Really?
double markup.
Wow.
And like, I get it in the sense of you've got to pay for the labor and the production and the shipping and the stocking and all of that stuff, but further proof that if you want a digital future, your digital games should be cheaper than the physical ones.
Right. That used to be the case. But now not anymore, because everybody's got their own proprietary store. They control the prices. It's dog shit. It's bad for everybody. And again, we're moving in the direction, which is this last story that I want to just squeeze in really quick before we get to Mike's, was the whole shenanigans with the add-on disk drive for PS5. Is they're basically, yes, there's a legal reason why they're doing it. They are doing it to abide by the frankly outdated DMCA rules that I don't know the specific. I don't know the specifics. I had someone explain it to me, and Mike, maybe you could explain it, but I don't really think it's necessary, other than just to say that there's concern about putting in a third-party drive that could assist you in ripping game files and shit, but like
they're basically
piracy measure. But like
what they're doing is they're basically forcing the online connection there for setup on that initial connection that they already do in-house for the regular PS5 with disk drive when they do the initial setup.
It's just like, but basically it's like, again, offloading onto the consumer and punishing those who want to rely on physical media, with also the added bit of, if you buy a digital only PS5 and then buy the optional disk drive, you're paying more than you would if you just bought the regular one with the drive there. It's $30.
I mean,
more.
that's always the
hilarious.
economy of scale there.
It's
you should buy
absurd.
this one if you want both, you dummy.
Again, they're punishing
and charging for the stand that comes for free with the current version.
It still comes with a stand. They're charging for
the vertical one.
Stand.
It charges for the
other
and I
stand
kind
can
of
do
for
vertical.
Stando Power now. Now they've moved them, rather than having one that is convertible that can do horizontal or vertical. Now each mode has their own.
I kind of stand by that one, because the having a stand that can do both mediocre versus a stand that can do one well. I
don't really have many complaints with the one that I've got now.
As someone who mounted his PS5 horizontally, it's not, the grip for it is not very good.
I say when you do it horizontally, it's pretty weak. When you do it vertically, it's got a fucking screw, so it's not going anywhere.
If the new stand has a better horizontal grip and it had to become a dedicated horizontal stand for it, then I'm okay with that change.
It sucks how it's on all the marketing material. It's only ever vertical. In
Yeah,
my
they don't
opinion,
even
in
show
my
it
opinion,
from
it looks weird
horizontal.
horizontal, and that's the one that you got to pay for. Is the vertical one.
Well, the
Personally, with how
horizontal one
with
is
I
the one
have
that fits in more entertainment
well,
stands
see,
in their
that's the
like
difference
general layout.
for me because I have to use a TV stand that's got the media tray
Yeah.
down below. I need in order to have even just to have like I do have like when I've got like my new camera there for when I am streaming from the capture card. Folks, check us out on twitch.tv/campaign comrades. And yeah, I have my controller charging thing there that like maybe doesn't need to be there, but what does need to be there is my Switch. And if I were to put my PS5 horizontally, I couldn't even fit that. It would
Yeah.
the horizontal
And the
PS5
new
would
one
take
is
up the whole
considerably
thing.
smaller. If you've seen the comparisons of the two,
Still wouldn't make a
models side
difference
by
for
side.
me. It wouldn't make a difference for me. So I would still have to mount it vertically.
Yeah.
So
also, you, me, and Andrew don't have a reason to get this model whatsoever.
no. I'll wait till I'll wait to consider getting a pro if and when that happens. But okay, that was just a little bit of a diatribe, but still relevant. You know, again, punishing physical enjoyers and just pushing this digital future.
Well, because
to
that's
which
what's
they
going to
have
end up
greater
happening
control.
in like the next generation or two. Is they're going to do away with it as a dedicated feature, and they'll have it as an accessory and be like, oh, if you want to bring your backwards compatible
Yeah, I was gonna say that's only for
catalog
backwards
forward,
compatible.
you
if they
need
do
your
that.
$100 disk drive add-on.
But again, that's only if they decide to allow you to have backwards compatibility. You know,
Well,
they
yes, but it
could.
would only be through their walled garden. Would be the It
Yeah,
would
no,
be
I know.
a firmware locked $100 add-on accessory.
Yeah, but I doubt they'll even do that. If anything, it'll be more like the Switch Online on the newer consoles.
All right, so
But
that's it from the consumer side of things. What about from the creator side of things in the industry?
so Twitch and YouTube are doing the what was expected in their ascendance into the platform economy and the
There,
becoming
we
the
gave millions of dollars to people who sit in front of their computers for varying levels of video game.
Well, so I mean, what they're doing is, like I said, expected. It's the Uber model, just a different version of it. The Uber model being that prices were low for consumers initially. It got a lot of users, and it created it as a kind of like a mainstay in transportation because of how cheap it was, and investors, blah blah blah. On the consumer end, on their labor end, similar thing of offering like these high incentives, giving good splits in the pay, and then throttling that once they've had established themselves in the market, and were not that they've ever made a profit, but whatever fucking magic those investors and CEOs are trying to do, they've been successful at it.
Well, yeah, they're leveraging losses.
So Twitch and YouTube, following that same pattern. One thing, so the story itself is they're at TwitchCon, a Twitch executive and YouTube executives have also been saying this, that they're going to start rolling back the size of the contracts that they give to streamers. Not having these multi-million-dollar contracts for long amounts of time, like 5-year contracts. They're going to lower those contracts to probably, I would guess, even a year. In an effort to create a sustainable business model, because they stated right now the Twitch executive themselves said that they created too much competition with YouTube. And so like the Ludwig contracts that we saw like probably a year and a half ago now, contracts that YouTube creators or Twitch creators were getting from YouTube to jump ship.
Well, this even predates YouTube because Mixer was doing it initially with was it Ninja?
But that didn't have a long-term effect really, because Mixer went by the wayside pretty quickly.
No, but they paid an exorbitant amount of money to put a man on their platform.
Yeah. Well, and Kick did that with XQC just recently. But that isn't driving competition really between, like Twitch wasn't going to try to match XQC's contract there.
Oh, whereas
where the contracts that YouTube was creating, or was offering Twitch creators,
they were better deals. They're not just more money, but it was like more money for less hours.
And they were, they weren't the gap between the Twitch contract and the YouTube contract wasn't as big as the gap between the Twitch contracts and a Mixer or a Kick contract for these big amounts. So those are just like outliers that aren't really affecting it. Whereas like the direct competition where between Twitch and YouTube, being, in the same ballpark, with amounts and actually competing for the space, Twitch is claiming that their decision to roll back these contracts is because they're afraid of creating an unsustainable business model between them and YouTube, where they're going tit for tat, trying to get creators. I think that's a bunch of horse shit. I don't think that, well, one, they could afford to do it. The ad revenue on both ends are high enough that they could pay these contracts for the labor that these the content creators are bringing them. The thing that I was hung up on here was, unlike the Uber model, you could hit both labor and consumer because the pricing changes are small and algorithmic, whereas the Twitch and YouTube contracts are more I'm sorry, the like membership and subscription prices for YouTube and Twitch are set numbers, so they would be going up like we see Netflix or Hulu, like these other streaming services, going up a set amount that would be noticeable to the consumer. And I think at least right now, Twitch and YouTube don't think that they have the leverage of being able to raise those consumer prices to then screw the creator by the split that they're getting. I think they saw an opportunity to roll back these contracts because they created a market or a workplace, a workforce that like Uber has become a necessity for some people's livelihoods. Is not the idea of it being a second fun job. They're able to maintain more control over the workforce by lowering what they're paying them.
I do think Twitch can get away with it too, because while YouTube is still bigger, audiences are still on YouTube, or are still on Twitch. That the viewers are still on Twitch, so they are, Twitch execs can hold these creators by the balls basically and be like, yeah, your audience isn't going to necessarily move with you, so you're relying on those subs and the measly bit of ad revenue that we let you get a taste of. So you're going to stay here, even though we're offering you less money.
And at least right now, Twitch doesn't want to mess with that consumer base by raising the prices compared to what YouTube has for a
because
membership.
It's owned by fucking Amazon, and they're always going to do it that way. They're always going to screw the producer, not the consumer. It's a clever strategy, and it works. They will operate at a loss for a long enough time that they can,
well, and the difference here again, a difference here again from Uber, and is similar to streaming, but streaming went two ways with it. So streaming went both raising the prices and adding the tier with ads, or adding again just more ads. Like I don't know if we've said it on the pod, but we've definitely talked between the four of us how the Hulu ads.
Oh my god, I hate it. I really think I need to like cancel my Hulu thing. I watched what I wanted to. Yeah, I'm only paying like $3 a month, which not bad.
It's not worth it for those
but
ads.
not worth it because it's like it's actively hostile viewing experience.
So Twitch and YouTube could go that route of just adding more ads and affect the consumer in that way, and then force them to pay the subscription, and they get more subscriptions, so they avoid the ads and things like that. And if people aren't, sucks, they're just going to see more ads, and we're going to get more money from them for seeing those ads. So that's how they're hitting their consumer. And then it's just an easier pen stroke to quickly knock off millions of dollars by lowering a bunch of top tier content creators multi-million-dollar contracts. That's quicker to them, whereas again Uber is exploiting the working class point blank. No one at Uber is making six figures, so they're able to very slowly and perniciously start taking more from the drivers and more from the consumer, and just leaving everyone fucking penniless.
And just so we clarify to our Malaysian listeners out there, we are the best content creators. We have the $1 million contract.
And you should give us an arts grant.
If you want to support us, go give us those free Prime subbies on Twitch. Thank you very much.
What is the Malaysian currency? We should know this. We should become experts in Malaysian culture.
Yeah, I gotta study.
Become kings of Malaysia.
I'm looking it up right now.
Easy there.
It is
not like literal monarch kings, but
the Malaysian ringgit. Ringgit, yeah. The Malaysian ringgit.
That's awesome. I love that. That sounds like it's from a video game.
Yeah. All right. I think we went a little long today, but it was a wide and ranging conversation. Thought it was good. I've already plugged the Twitch multiple times, but I'll do it again. Twitch.tv/CampaignComrades. No extra cost to you. You can give us those Prime subbies for your support. If you like the podcast, give us a review on your podcast platform of choice. If you don't like it, too bad. More's coming at you. We will be back next week talking about Insomniac Spider-Man. We'll be talking about the series as a whole, since Mike has only had access to the first two games. We'll have to wait a year or so to get this one on PC. But then in terms of Spider-Man 2, we should have a decent range of perspectives. I, who have finished and platinumed the game, Andrew, I think you'll have no problem finishing at least the story by that time. And then Matt, we'll see how far you're going to get. You'll get plenty far, but
I'll probably be about halfway in the story.
You say we know you're going to want to platinum it, so I don't know that you'll get there at that point. By then, even though it's not hard to do or very long to do, I just don't know that you'll get that far. But we'll have interesting touchstones throughout the series, in this game in particular, for your listening enjoyment next time. So be sure to tune in. But till then, you can come to our stream on Tuesday. That'll come out the day after. That'll be the day after this episode releases. Maybe we'll do uncut. Probably end up just doing more Elden Ring with Mike. See him through, and that's what you can expect. We will see you in the next one. Thank you for listening, and bye bye.